I always like to start my meetings off with my 4 A's. What do you think the first A is? It's not always be closing, I can tell you that. What's the first A? What do you have to have every day when you come to work? Attitude. You gotta have a good attitude, right? A positive attitude. All the way with PMA, run away from NMA, right? So if you have a really good attitude about yourself when you wake up, you might have a bad attitude, but look in the mirror and formulate a good attitude. You have to have a good attitude in this business. Your aiming high is soaring, aiming low is boring. So if you have a really good attitude in the morning when you get up, you're going to jump in the shower, you're going to work out, you're going to do your thing, you're going to have your coffee, have your tea, have your cereal, have your eggs, whatever you're going to do. And now it's time to get dressed. You have to have a good appearance. So when you stand in front of a customer, you appear to them very nice. And your attitude is contagious. And because you have a really good attitude and you have a great appearance, how you approach a customer is going to be that much better. And as you're approaching them, they get a sense that you mean business. So your attitude, your appearance, and your approach all lead up to one of the most important things in the car business. And that's the last day would be your actions. Because if you have a really good attitude about yourself, and you feel good about yourself, and you approach people with a positive attitude, nothing but good action can take place. And it doesn't mean you have to do the big things. Because the last day, which would be the 5th day, the supplemental A, I learned this a long time ago, it's not the big things that matter, it's those little things that add up to the big picture. A little plus a little equals a lot. And what I'm going to share with you this morning is the little things that are going to sell you a lot of cars. It's the little things that are going to turn those customers into sales. It's the little things that are going to help you to formulate connections with your customer. What percentage of your customers do you feel start their journey online? 80 to 90%. What percentage of your customers do you feel make a decision on a vehicle, not dealership, not price, but a vehicle online? What percentage? 30? So what you're saying is 80 to 90% of your customers start their journey online, but decide only when they get to the dealership. Here's the reality of what you're saying. Years ago, people used to visit 4 to 5 dealerships. You know how many dealerships they're visiting today? 1.5. It's all over the place.
They have the information already.
They have the information. So your belief that only 30 to 40% of them decide to buy a car online is wrong. It doesn't add up. Think about it. There's a much more higher percentage. And I want you to think about that because this is the mindset you have to have. My uncle right here said that the internet is really important, that social media is really important. People buy on social media. People come here because of this man right here, because of his presence on social media, because people are attracted to his personality, to his enthusiasm. That's what draws people to your dealership. So the moral to the story, and this is what I try to tell everybody, is that 80 to 90% of the customers are looking for vehicles online, and this is how it starts. They click a button, Google, they search a Honda Accord, and I'm in a Honda dealership, that's why I'm Honda, and it will take them directly to Honda's website. They'll spec out a car, they'll see pricing of the vehicle, they'll spec out a car, exactly what equipment they want. Once they determine what equipment they want, it will take them to a finance calculator where they can put in how much money they want to put down, the price of the car, how much term they want, and it stops at 60 months, the interest rate that they anticipate, so on and so forth. Get the payoff on their car, get their trade value through Kelley Blue Book, press the button, out comes a payment. Next step, they're swarmed with Honda dealerships in the local area. And what do they start doing? They start emailing and calling. And what do you think they're looking for, in your opinion? It's the best deal. Money has a lot to do with it. But I think what more important is a connection. Once they form that connection, now it comes down to the money. It's about giving information. People ask for information, you got to give it to them. You have to. They want the information because if you don't give it to them, guess what they're going to do? You just search for it.
It's how you give it to them. That's why when they're stuck, they just give me 4 leads right now to bring them in. I'm not bringing them in to lose money. Well, like a lot of people, I bring them in by asking them, oh, where are you from? Oh, yeah? I know somebody over there. And I start talking about other things relating to them, and then they say, I'll be in Nick tomorrow, 11 o'clock. I just did one for Matt. No, we're over the price. You don't have to.
That's exactly how it works. It was said in the meeting prior to this that we have a very high closing ratio. Every dealership has a high closing ratio. It's getting them in here. Once you get them here, you're going to close them. That's my point. So you got to work on getting more customers in here to close more customers. You have to form those personal connections. So when you communicate with people today, whether they're sitting in front of you or on the phone or through a text or email, you got to imagine that person's right in front of you. One of the first things that I would do as a sales consultant in a dealership, if I ever went back to selling cars, which I might do in my retirement, all I got to do is a video of myself, send it out there and say, come on down and see me. Make a video of yourself, an introduction video, and send it out to customers. I've been in the business a month. I'm 19 years old, just got out of high school. You know how many people you're going to draw to this dealership just by saying that?
He's a football star.
And you're a football star. You're not going to need a broom next to your desk to sweep off all those customers. Seriously. You got to use that to your advantage now. Don't wait. Make that video. Get it out there. Tell people why you're in the car business. I wouldn't mention your family because you're in another dealership. But the thing is, that's what I would do. You're new in the car business. You guys are 9 years in the car business. Look at you. Come on. Get the videos out there. All right, so let's talk about how to get the customers in there. I'm not going to talk about meet and greet and all that stuff. It's in the workbook, but that's for really beginners class. I talked about attitude only because attitude's important. But this next page, why, what, and how. I don't think the how is as important as the what and why. Why are you in the car business? You just started in the car business. Why are you in the car business?
Make more money.
Make more money. But there's other reasons you're going to find out. Because if I ask you why you're in the car business, you're going to tell me you're in the car business to make money, but more importantly, like dealing with people. Even the challenge you had this morning, you like it because you solved the problem and you're a problem solver. I'm in the car business because I like dealing with people. I'm a trainer because I like multiplying myself to others and seeing people succeed. I like the money and I like to travel and I like to meet people on the road. That's why I like it. That's my why. But more importantly, my wife likes me out of the house. That's another why. I'm just kidding. But you have a why you're in the business. You're a competitor. You're a football player. You're a competitor. That's why you're in the car business. You want to compete with your peers, right? You want to make money. You want to start a career. Awesome. So you know your why. Now let's find out what the customer's why is. What inspired you to call my dealership? You ever ask that question? Can you imagine what the answer might be? Oh, maybe it's you had the lowest prices. Or maybe my buddy bought a car from you. Or maybe my friend from high school just started a sales career there. I heard you have a really good reputation. What inspired you to contact my dealership? All I'm doing is updating your software. There's not a sales consultant in the country who's going to ask that question. But you will. How about this one? I want a Honda Accord with this and this. What attracted you to that vehicle? Simple question. How about this one? What research have you done so far? Oh, I've done a lot of research. What websites have you visited? I visited all the websites. Did you happen to go to a finance calculator? Yeah, I did. And what did you plug into that finance calculator? These are questions you should be asking your customer. It's not needs assessment or hot buttons anymore. It's value drivers. What's driving you to seek information from me, from my dealership? What's driving you towards this car? That's the why. Why do you want this car? Why do you want this equipment? What are you trying to accomplish by calling me? What are you trying to accomplish by coming here? What are you trying to do? That's the things you got to find out today. Because they're finding things out on their own on the internet, but there's no bias. There's no one guiding them to a decision. Selling isn't something you do to somebody. Selling is something you do for and with somebody. What does that mean? That means you got to get inside their head and find out why they're here. There's a thing in this business called empathy that we all use, but it's fake. I don't know how many times when I was selling cars or an F&I or as a salesman, I said, I know exactly how you feel. I've often felt the same way. It's a lie. But then I learned perspective talking, always be closing, is gone. Sorry, doesn't work anymore, all right? There's a new ABC in town. It's called attunement. Attune yourself with the customer. It's called perspective talking. Understand why the customer is taking that stance. What's their perspective? And then buoyancy, B, able to handle and understand the rejection the customer is going to throw at you and to overcome it. And then C, because you're attuned with the customer and you have buoyancy and you're able to overcome the customer's concerns, you have clarity. Those are the new ABCs. That's a philosophy. And selling is somewhat of a philosophy. The old days of just dragging a customer, setting appointments, that's what we used to do. You just get an appointment, you get the appointment, get the customer's name, get the customer's phone number, set the appointment.
That's my responsibility to get them to do that.
Maybe I'll get a better way of doing it, all right?
They ain't doing too good.
This is the problem. People are sick of hearing that. They don't want to hear that. That's not our goal. Our goal is to form a connection and then ask for the appointment. I train and coach all over the country. Hi, my name's Gerry Gould. Welcome to Honda Universe. That's not a meet and greet. This is a meet and greet. Welcome to Honda Universe. My name's Gerry Gould. There's a big difference, and very few people can pick up the difference. Hi, my name's Gerry Gould. Welcome to Honda Universe. Who's the emphasis on? Me, right? Welcome a customer to the dealership. Thanks for calling. My name's Gerry Gould. What's important is setting the right tone. And then you start to ask those questions. What inspired you to contact my dealership? What are you trying to accomplish today? How may I assist you? Those are the questions. Once you give the customer answers, once again, my name's Gerry Gould and your name is Bob. Bob, tell you what, I gave you all the information. I have the vehicle in stock. When do you come and take a test drive? Now you ask for the appointment. When I first got in the car business, we used to call it, you're still brooming people. You go out, meet and greet a customer, and we used to have the sheets. Nothing was digital. We used to write it down. Guy in red hat. I'd walk in the showroom, my manager would go, Gerry, what happened to the guy in the red hat? He just was looking, man. I gave him a card and he took off. I used to get yelled at. So then they said, we're brooming too many people. So they came up with an idea. And they put a box in the middle of the showroom and a color TV. And we used to go out and say, you here for the TV? Come on inside and sign up for it. And that's how we got people inside. Brilliant idea. The first thing you want to do is you set an appointment. And how many times does the customer come in and ask for you when they come in? All of them, right?
Yeah.
What result do you think you'd have with that customer if you went out and meeting them? Instead of them coming in the showroom and asking for you. And you walked out to the showroom and said, hi, Gerry, I'm Justin. Wouldn't that be amazing? How are you going to do that if you don't even know who it is? You don't know what he looks like. Never saw him before, right? So how are you going to figure out who it is?
By the car he
The car he drives in! So why don't you ask him, what are you going to be driving down here?
trade-in or something, whatever.
Not the trade-in. Don't talk about trading, because the next thing you know, you didn't even mention trade. What's the customer going to say to you? What's my trade worth? So say, now that we set the appointment, do you mind telling me what you're driving in? And I'll be looking for you. It's a lot different than the customer. Because customers, they don't want to walk into the dealership because they have these apprehensions. But if you walk out and say, come on, welcome to my dealership, come on inside. It's so welcoming. It's like opening up your front door for this customer. Now think about it. Would you let someone just walk into your house? Even your best friends, they knock on the door, right? Now think about it. That's the mentality of people. Think about the fear they have when they're walking through your front door. It's the same thing. That's the coach, man, in me. That's what people think.